how did you use that experience then with a lot of the clients that were coming into the studios? Obviously you couldn't open, I guess, in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So what did you do for them? Did you go digital or what?
Yeah, so we, at one point, all of our studios shut. So
Right.
that's 60% of our revenue is studio business. Luckily, we have a very beautiful online streaming business that we have started in 2011, and we had just replatformed in 2019, which was a move. We didn't do that we didn't know it was coming, but we did it. So our digital business grew 100% year over year in 1 month.
Wow.
And that really sustained the corporate headquarters, but all of my franchisees are dependent on their client business, right? So in that moment, we decided, instead of having all those clients come to our premium digital product, we said, teach on Zoom. Open up a Zoom studio. We all did this, right? Pretty much anyone who has a studio opened up a Zoom business. And what's fascinating, though, and I'm so proud of this, is that their clients chose that lo-fi Zoom experience with these owners, bless their hearts, teaching in their living rooms with their toddlers running by and dogs jumping on them, right? They chose that kind of lo-fi experience over our premium digital experience because they had an emotional connection with the owner and the instructors, and they cared about community more than a precious digital product.
Wow. That's
And
interesting.
I think we learned. Didn't we learn something in that? I mean, I think every studio owner knows. What we learned is that relationships matter more than exercise. How we treat each other before and after class, and in all those little in-between moments, is what draws the client back in and creates a sustainable and resilient studio or company culture.
So looking forward then, your business, I guess you're continuing to expand. Is that right?
Yeah.
Just in the US or internationally, or?
We are currently in the US, we are in Canada and the Philippines. And we are pre-COVID, I think we're up 1 studio from pre-COVID. So I'm also really proud of that. We've lost some studios, and some of them probably were going to close eventually anyways, so it sort of like shook it out. And we've added new owners, which is such a major honor that someone would sign up during COVID and say, I'm in, you know, because we do know they're smart. We know that the pendulum's going to swing. People have learned that we need to gather in person to music, to the beat. We love it. We need it. So we believe that there's going to be a really strong studio business in years to come. And we got to just hang in. Right now, our studio business is steadily, building. It's not like skyrocketing, but I'm kind of glad about that. It's like it's meeting our energy where we need it to be so we can keep, taking care of those clients, training new instructors because we did lose instructors, training new front desk people, and kind of meeting our clients right where they are as we grow. But yeah, we're going to continue to expand. Our president and COO, Bruce Edwards, is a builder, and he likes to grow things. And he's really good at like operational excellence and scaling and all the things that I'm not as passionate about or experienced in. I am experienced in it. I'm not as passionate about it. So with him in the lead, I think we'll probably go places for sure.
Yeah. Have you had to rethink your model with, like, assuming that there could be other variants coming along and they may close things down? Have you sort of had to create a slightly different business to deal with that at all?
Yeah, we're ready. It's omni-channel. We're going to meet our clients at each inflection point during their day, during their life. And when, things strike like COVID or a random snowstorm in April, which we had in Oregon, which is so weird and all our studios shut, we have a digital product that'll meet them right where they are. And our owners, we're exploring different platforms for the owners. Right now, Zoom works fine. And we've all learned to teach outside our studio walls. So we teach Bar 3 in parks, on rooftops, in parking lots. We've really learned to be flexible. And, our commitment is just to keep helping our clients because those are the moments when they need us the most. When times are chaotic, we want to give them that consistent experience.
And do your franchise owners, do they generate revenue also from online as well as like your corporate
They
So-
don't currently from our digital online subscription. Obviously, they do from their Zoom
Right.
classes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they set up their own sort of Zoom ones that are an extension of what goes on.
Yeah.
Right. But what you said is that the room with the cat
Yeah.
performs better than your sort of nicely.
Yeah, and I will
polished-
say, if any of my owners are listening, but that was at the very beginning. But I mean, I am so proud of these owners and all of these instructors who train themselves in front of a camera. It is wildly different to teach a class to a camera than it is to a room full of people. Everything about it is different. First of all, you really have to teach in your body. You have to show every move while you're explaining it and connect somehow through a little teeny camera. They all figured out how to do sets in their studios and the lighting and the setup, and they do live streams sometimes now, so you can take class in person, or that same class you can take it from your living room. So yeah, they've all become like production set experts.
Have you had to train that? I was talking to one of a guy called Joseph McClendon. We had him on. He's one of Tony Robbins' trainers, and they used to do huge events. And they went digital, very
Yeah.
successful.
I
But he
know.
said how much him and Tony Robbins had to change, like looking at cameras and where things were and how to. He said he had to relearn the whole thing again. And then when he went back on stage, he kind of had to forget some of that to go live again. So I didn't realize how much of a skill or skills go into those two different types of formats. I sort of didn't appreciate it.
I mean, of course, Tony Robbins crushes that. I heard that someone told me it was very inspirational. I'm like, as inspirational as in real. I haven't gone to his thing yet, but I'm actually scared what will happen to me if I go to that, 'cause it just sounds too inspiring. But they said it was absolutely, they connected through the screen, and it sounds like they were very intentional about that. They didn't, how a class translates live is so different than in your living room. And so I think the mistake some owners or some instructors have made is thinking, oh, I'm just going to teach it just like I do in the studio. It's really different when someone's at home by themselves, like how we connect, even the words we use. One of the like total lo-fi things we do, it's hard to explain if you're just listening to this, but like instructors would be, with a Zoom, they're teaching the class, and then you go up real close to the computer, to the little camera, and like wave and talk, and then come back. Just that, like having the instructor space fill the screen for a minute and connect and ask a question or something, and then go back to the workout. Just those little things we found give clients a feeling of, oh, they're really like talking to me,
Right.
versus on a stage teaching some class to a bunch of random people.
Yeah, I didn't appreciate what was involved. I was chatting to a lady yesterday. She came from the performing arts world, and she was talking about this fourth wall. I don't know if you've heard of it at all, but apparently, like even in yoga, there's this fourth wall, which is kind of, and if you're acting on stage, and it's like this sort of artificial wall that separates you from the instrument. It's a boundary, and you create that. And she was talking about in modern theatre now, they break that down. So you're actually immersed, you're part of, there's no line between the instructor or the actors and the crowd. And it's successful trainers understand how to kind of break that down, and the language and how they interact with people. And it kind of made me think, like, how you could also do that in an interactive perspective as well, to try and create an experience. And I guess it comes back to, I suppose in general, a lot of group exercise instructors and things have probably been quite low paid for what they've done, and because you're just teaching a class. But I suppose now there's some great opportunities if you can round out what you're doing and learn some of those skills.
I think instructor pay is a big topic right now, and really figuring that the model has changed. The model has changed. So digital technology, allowing us to access more people all at once, and like figuring out how to leverage that strong talent and pay them appropriately is something we're investigating actively. It's really important to us. It happened pretty quick. It was a big change.
Yeah, and I guess there's good and bad. There's probably a shortage of instructors, but if you can, a gentleman I met for breakfast was talking about he used to hire trainers in New York and LA, paying a lot of money, and now he's moved to different parts of the country because you can do it digitally. which has sort of leveled things out, made it a little bit more competitive, I suppose. And I guess given people in parts of the country that probably weren't getting as much work, you know, it's kind of balanced things out a touch. I don't know whether it's good or bad, but I guess, you know, technology does enable things that probably aren't possible if you're just in Manhattan, where you're limited to a pool of people, I suppose.
Yeah, it adds to the studio experience. That's how I see it, at least with our model at Bar 3. The epicenter, the thing that if we took it away, we wouldn't be a viable business, is teaching the Bar 3 signature class in our studios. That's at the core of our success. And then the journey beyond that. Now it's like really looking at crowding out the competition and just looking at, okay, our community, our client base, like, how can we meet them throughout the day beyond our studio in a way that uplifts and enhances their studio practice? And I think there's so much to discover there. And that's, we're going out and doing focus groups and client, you know, surveys and really understanding, like, how can we solve problems for you in a unique way that we didn't know we had pre-COVID? And the exhausted mom, you know, that's a huge one. We're just freaking fatigued, right? So how can we support and energize? And it's not necessarily through a bunch of cardio classes anymore, right? It's something else. And that's what we want to explore, is how can digital help us without distracting us from the studio business?
Yeah. I interviewed a guy, Josh, earlier, and he was telling me, you don't realize the amount of steps that people go through. He does yoga, and he says, right, they get their yoga mat, they put it in their bag, they get dressed, they go out, they find a parking spot, they go up 2 flights of stairs, they get changed, they get in the studio. They've got all these things to do just to get in the class. You know, it's a big.
Not to mention the mental barriers.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do I want to do this? Or do I want to stay and watch something on Netflix?
Totally. Or what is everyone going to look like? I'm going to be the oldest one in the room. I'm going to, you know, that whole. There's so many barriers to exercise.
Yeah.
And every single person who walks into our studio, we remember that. It's like, thank you so much for showing up. I know how hard it was to get here. And then on top of it, we have new moms with a little baby carrier with the little newborns. Can add that into the mix. Yeah. Like 3 changes of diapers, like 1 spit up, like, you know, like a screaming, crying fit on the way. Like, you know, it's like climbing Mount Everest some days to get to the studio. And it's worth it, because that's where we fight lonely. That's where we remember that we are a part of something greater than, you know, these little kind of worlds where we feel kind of isolated.